All right, so how do we actually build better school leaders? I mean, it's a massive question, right? But today, we're going to tackle it head on. We're diving into some fascinating research that explores a really powerful idea. What if the key to creating more equitable schools isn't just one thing, but actually networking and collaboration?
This quote really says it all. After teachers, principals have the biggest impact on how well our kids do in school. And that makes sense, right? They're juggling everything. But here's the big but. The way we've been training them, it's often totally disconnected from the real-world stuff they have to deal with, especially when it comes to creating schools that are fair and equitable for every student.
Okay, so to fix that disconnect, this major initiative was launched. It's called the Equity-Centered Pipeline Initiative, or ECPI for short. And the core idea? It's actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. It's like, hey, instead of having universities over here and school districts over there doing their own thing, what if we brought them together? The goal was to build partnerships to create a much better pipeline for future school leaders.
And we're not just talking about districts and universities. Nope, the ECPI brought a whole bunch of players to the table. We're talking state agencies, community organizations, even outside experts. But as you can probably imagine, getting all these different groups, each with their own way of doing things, their own goals, to actually work together effectively, well, that is the real challenge. It takes a very specific, kind of special skill.
And that skill has a name. It's called boundary crossing. Now, this is a really cool concept. It's not about trying to make everyone the same or erasing the differences between, say, a university and a school district. Just the opposite, actually. It's about using those differences. The whole idea is to treat those different perspectives as a resource, to create a kind of productive friction that can spark brand new ideas and better solutions.
Yeah, and these powerful networks, they don't just pop up overnight. Not at all. They have to evolve. So, at first, it's just a few people talking, a few sparse connections. But then, as they start to work together and build trust, that network gets denser and denser. And eventually, you get these really cohesive, tight-knit teams that are laser-focused and ready to get the real work done.
Okay, so that's the big picture, the theory behind it all. But what does this boundary crossing thing actually look like in the real world, like on the ground? Well, to figure that out, let's zoom in and look at a specific case study of one partnership from a district they called Green Public Schools.
So, the research found there's basically a four-step process that really drives this whole thing. Think of it like an engine for change. First up is identification. You got to figure out, okay, who's in the room and what special expertise does everyone bring? Then comes coordination. Setting up a game plan, some routines so you can actually work together. That leads to reflection, which is huge. It's where people actually start learning from each other and seeing things in a new light. And all of that builds to the final step, transformation. That's when you take all those new insights and use them to make real lasting change.
And listen, this isn't just some abstract theory. For Green Public Schools, this process led to some really concrete, tangible results. For example, the university they were partnered with, they totally realigned their courses to match new state standards on equity. They also got rid of a go-at-your-own-pace model and created a structured group, a cohort, which built a way stronger community. They even created brand new pathways to help aspiring leaders who are almost there finally get their license. Real changes.
So the big takeaway here is that this kind of collaboration really, really works. But that leads to the next question, right? Is there only one way to do it? A single recipe for success? To find out, the research zooms back out and compares two totally different districts, Erie City Schools and Huron School District, to see how they were both chasing the same goal, but with very different partnership models.
And what they found is pretty fascinating. The two districts were structured completely differently. Erie City's network was super connected and centralized. You can kind of picture it like a spiderweb, with a few key people right in the middle driving all the action. Huron's network, though, it was the opposite. It was much more decentralized, more like a distributed net, where a wider, more diverse group of organizations were all involved.
And when you look at the data, it's crystal clear. I mean, Erie City's network was more than twice as centralized as Huron's. And this is so important because it proves there's no single right way to do this. There isn't one blueprint for success. A really coordinated, centralized model can work, but so can a more spread out, decentralized one.
All right, so we've looked at the big idea, we've gone deep into a case study, and we've compared the data. So what's the big takeaway? What does all this talk about networks and boundary crossing actually mean for the future of our schools?
Well, I think it really comes down to this. Creating effective, equity-focused leadership programs, it doesn't just happen by magic. It's not a simple top-down order. It's built. And it's built through intentional and, yeah, sometimes messy, continuous collaboration. Real lasting change comes from the hard work of people who are willing to cross those boundaries, to really listen to each other, and to build something new together.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. We've seen just how powerful this can be in education. But this whole idea of boundary crossers, it feels so much bigger than that, doesn't it? I mean, think about our other huge, complex problems. Climate change, public health, you name it. Where else are these boundary crossers? These hidden connectors who can bridge different worlds. Where else are they the secret key to finally solving our toughest challenges?